We all know the famous gold coins from the John Wick universe, but what do they actually stand for, and how much are they worth? In the movies, we can see many transactions made with these gold coins.
I'd like to make a dinner reservation for 12.
This includes body disposal,
John.
weapons of all kinds,
May I suggest the Benelli M4?
a bulletproof suit, a night at the Continental Hotel,
Vorrei una chiacchiera.
or just a drink.
This round's on me.
But the coins do not only serve as currency. They also represent a code of honor, loyalty, and trust within the criminal underworld, as depicted in the movies. In the third movie, when John visits the coin minting facility in Morocco and meets Barada, he tells him,
Now, this coin, of course, it does not represent a monetary value. It represents the commerce of relationships, a social contract in which you agree to partake.
Did you know that in the second John Wick movie, when Santino puts a bounty on John,
Denomination?
7 million.
you can spot the names of several other assassins with high bounties. And most of them actually make an appearance later on in the movie when John is in the soup kitchen, where the Bowery has a list of Santino's mercenaries who are almost all from the blackboard. For example, Paizocha, R., who has a 350K bounty, can be seen when Santino flees from John in the art gallery.
You. And you with me. You go.
As all of the mercenaries on the list, he later on gets killed by John, which is why you can see in the third movie that his status is terminated.
What is the Administration in the John Wick universe?
Administration.
The Administration is an organization under the High Table that stores files and criminal records on everyone connected with the Table and the Continentals. If someone is declared
Excommunicado.
and has an open contract or a high bounty, the Administration sends a message to every agent willing to collect the bounty. The employees of the Administration are women in a vintage style, often with tattoos, and they work with quite old equipment. The Administration seems to have a global presence. We see it in both New York and Paris, with the Paris branch even having a radio channel known as
WUXIA.
through which they broadcast John's bounty to the bounty hunters.
And remember, there is nowhere to run.
Did you know about all the markers John Wick holds and knows? The first marker we see is the one Santino has from John, which he used to fulfill his impossible task 5 years before the events of the movie and retire. We don't know exactly what Santino did, but it was crucial for John to complete his task. Santino later used this marker to get John to eliminate his sister. John also holds a marker from Sofia, which he received for saving and hiding her daughter in an unknown location. He used this marker to get to Barada and obtain the Elder's location. Although these were all the markers we see, John still had other loyal friends like Koji, who gave his life for John even without having a marker from him.
You owe John Wick nothing. He has no marker on you. Must have fallen far to believe. The only debts we have lie in markers.
Why does everyone know John Wick?
John?
Cassian.
No matter where John goes, he always seems to know people and they know him. But why is this the case? John has worked in the hitman business for a long time, often under different employers such as the Ruska Roma or the Tarasovs, and has completed many jobs for them. Some of these jobs he likely didn't do alone, or he did jobs for friends to strengthen their bonds. Known as Baba Yagalong before his impossible task, John was already a legendary hitman under the High Table. His numerous confirmed eliminations and the impossible task boosted his rank even more. The fact that he came back for a dog added to his legend. Skilled hitmen know and respect him, while others try to eliminate him for various reasons, making it hard for John to know if his former colleagues are allies or enemies.
John Wick has few friends remaining in the world, and even fewer he trusts with his life.
Did you know this about John Wick 2? In one scene, Cassian pays the round for him and John at the Continental Hotel and says,
Consider it a professional courtesy.
which later saves his life when John stabs him in the subway.
Blade is in your aorta. You pull it out, you bleed, and you will die. Consider this a professional courtesy.
We later learn that John took this act seriously when, at the end of the movie, he stabs Santino's bodyguard Ares in the same place but pulls out the knife, which leads her to die. Although she tried to offer John a drink directly after Cassian did, which John refuses.
No, thanks.
Where are the police in John Wick?
Evening, John.
Despite John Wick's gunfights taking place in very public areas, we only see the police on two occasions.
Evening, Jimmy.
Both times, it's Jimmy, who knows what John was doing before his retirement.
You, working again?
He also covers John's back when his house gets destroyed, noting that it was a
Gas leak?
Yeah, gas leak.
There is only one scene in the second movie that indicates the arrival of authorities after John fought his way through a concert when you hear sirens in the background. In an interview, director Chad Stahelski confirmed the theory that the police and the high table are well aware of each other and that the police do not interfere because no civilians or cops die.
They're in the know, we're in the know, it's good. The cops have their own world, which maybe we'll explore in John Wick 19.
Did you know when Winston gives John Wick the piece of paper after the meeting with the Marquis,
Let's find safe harbor before it starts.
which John later uses to get access to the subway of the Bowery King, it actually symbolizes safe shelter and is commonly used among elderly homeless people? These signs, called Hobo Symbols, help homeless people communicate discreetly and share important information, making it easier for them to navigate their surroundings and stay safe.
Did you know that in John Wick 4, when Winston meets the Marquis at the Louvre Museum, the paintings and the scene aren't just placed randomly but serve a deeper meaning? At the beginning, when Winston informs the Marquis of the duel, we can see the death of Sardanapalus behind him, which perfectly resembles the characteristics of the Marquis. In the painting, a monarch watches indifferently as his guards start mayhem and massacre. Similarly, we see the Marquis throughout the movie doing the exact same thing when John tries to get to the church and even when he tasks Caine to participate in the duel for him. Also, when Winston points at the painting Liberty Leading the People and calls it
a warning of the cost of tyranny,
it reflects the spirit of revolution and resistance against oppression. The painting symbolizes the power of the people rising against tyranny, which resonates with the high table breaking their own rules and punishing people who were already punished. Follow for part 2. What are the Continental Hotels in John Wick? Over the span of the 4 movies, we see Continental Hotels all across the world, for example in New York, Casablanca, and Japan. They all have a head manager and a head concierge.
It is a pleasure having you with us again.
But the most important thing is that they provide complete neutrality on their grounds. The gold coins are essential for the Continental Hotels. Each night at these hotels costs 1 gold coin, and there are many ways to spend coins within the hotels, such as buying a drink, accessing a club, or even purchasing weapons. However, if someone breaks the Continental rules, they are deemed excommunicado, losing access to all services under the table, often resulting in severe punishment. In the 3rd movie, we also learn that a hotel can be deconsecrated. When this happens, the hotel's neutrality is revoked, and the high table will do everything to bring it under their control. Who is the strongest faction under the high table in the John Wick universe? Although almost every faction has skilled fighters and good weaponry, Zero's faction, known as the Ninjas, stands out the most. Despite rarely using firearms, their skill with blades surpasses others. They not only defeated the Bowery King's people, but also killed members of the Ruska Rama due to their stealthy approach. The shinobi had several chances to kill John and fought an intense battle against him, even earning his respect, which is why John didn't kill them. They can seemingly vanish and appear out of the dark, are trained in combat on bikes, and have been stalking John since the beginning of the 3rd movie. While they don't match the high table in numbers and firepower, their skill makes them the best faction in terms of combat, even though other factions have more members and greater weaponry. Did you know the evolution of John Wick's bounty? John Wick's first open contract is established by Viggo with $2 million, which he later doubles.
If they're willing to break the rules of Continental, double the bounty.
In the second movie, Santino places a $7 million bounty on John after John eliminates Santino in the Continental. The high table doubles the bounty to $14 million.
The Camaro's doubled Santino's open contract. It's gone international,
marking the beginning of 3. In Part 4, after John fights high-table troops at the Osaka Continental, the bounty rises to $20 million. After Mr. Nobody meets with the Marquis, it goes to $23 million for him. Following a meeting between John and the Marquis, the bounty increases to $26 million. When John reaches the old house, it goes up to $35 million, and shortly after, it reaches its final bounty of $40 million.
Lottery just went up.